Good morning. Welcome to the Sunday, March 7th, 2021 weekly online meeting of the Natural Rights Sangha. March 7th, 2021 already. Wow. 2020 seemed to take forever, but 2021 is flying. At least for me. I don't know how it is for you. Let's begin with our meditation. Please set your timers for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whichever you'd like, or any number in between or less or more. And as usual, we'll sit up straight. And our meditation is more of an abidance than an actual meditation. The difference being a meditation sometimes is me wanting something out there, me wanting something out there. It's an attraction thing. It's me wanting to change or me wanting what I don't have. And abidance is just being with what you are. And so we're going to be mindful of that as we do our abiding, our meditation. And I realize that I'm looking down a little bit. The camera's actually right up there. And I'm looking here because that's where I see my face in the picture. So if I'm looking like this back and forth a little bit, then that's why. But so sitting up straight, comfortably, but in a good position. Focusing on the breath, letting thoughts go. Remember, the thoughts aren't really you. The thoughts are thoughts. They come and they go. And you don't even have to call any of them your thoughts. So letting thoughts go, focusing on the inhalation and exhalation through the nose. Please set your timer and start it, and then turn this video off and start it when the timer goes off again. So let's begin. Welcome back. This week, we're going to do something a bit different to begin. I'm going to recount to you the locations and doings of some of our members. And just to keep you updated on how some of us are doing and what we've been doing. It's March now. The Natural Rights Sangha has been going on for over 9 months with weekly meetings, and we haven't missed one, I'm happy to say. Although a couple, due to technical reasons and Mark being sick or on the road, have been a little bit delayed. We'll talk about the board of directors first. And I'm one of them, and you kind of know how I've been doing. So we'll skip me, and we'll move on to Kalidas, aka Baron Flory. Kalidas has had a wonderful year, unexpectedly. First, COVID trapped him in India. He was supposed to leave in March due to the expiration of his 6 months at a time long-term tourist visa. You can get 5 or 10-year visas, good for 6 months at a time in India, or you could. And he was on that, and he had come in October, so he was prepared to leave. at the end of the 6 months, which he usually did. And he has homes in Japan with Eureka and in Germany, which he shares with his brother. His brother has one floor, him another. They rent out the bottom as a warehouse. It's a nice situation. And of course, he has friends all over the world. And he spends time in places like Indonesia, Nepal, Sri Lanka, as well as Japan and America and Germany. But India is his true love, and that's where he is most of the time. Well, India wouldn't let him leave. They canceled international flights. And so he and many, many other people said, what do we do? India government, we are trying to follow the law, but we can't leave now because of policies which are beyond your control, but you the one who said to cancel the flight. So what do we do? Let's be fair. And India kept extending their visas. So instead of having to leave the way he usually did, he's been there for a full year and now is extended through the end of March. So he was a little bit worried about the hot season in India, but said that he only needed to run the air conditioner a couple hours a day. And he lives in this beautiful place out in the country. When he bought it, it was barren, but he studied what plants would grow and how to work in this climate with certain trees and bushes. And now, 10 years later or so, it's like an oasis. He's got ponds, and all the birds in India come by his house because he has water and trees, and all the neighbors are looking at that going, what the heck did he do? Well, he used his head. And that's what Kalidas always does. But if you haven't seen Kalidas's music, Kalidas, Kalidas, 33, the numbers, on YouTube, and you can see his music and get to know Kalidas better. But to me, he's a great guy. He does everything right. He finds jobs that he loves and makes money with things that he enjoys doing. He loves his music. He loves India. So what does he do? He lives in India, plays his music, and works enough to get by. And plus has set himself up with a good retirement by having loyally paid his taxes and paid into Social Security, etc. Uh, it, while he had a green card in America, so he's doing great. Ralph Davis, that character, he lives in Maine, a beautiful spot near the ocean, in what's normally a very vibrant, musical, uh, interesting city, but with COVID went kind of cold and dark in comparison. Well, Ralph, conniver that he is, was able to get a business visa for India, and he did all that was necessary. He's totally entitled to the business visa. He's done business with manufacturers there for years with Dharma Import Fashions, which are excellent. And uh, and so he got a letter saying, yeah, he's been doing business with us, and he had all the receipts and showed everything and got the business visa, went and took his COVID test, came out negative, hopped the flight, and got to India. And there he is. So he's having a great time. He's been took care of all his business, and then he went to Goa to enjoy the beach and be with his friends. And soon he'll be going to Tiruvannamalai area to see Kalidas, it looked like. Um, and so he's been doing very well. Both these guys are overseas directors, as you know, overseas recruitment people. Recruitment, is that the word? Well, they don't recruit, but if they meet someone who's interested in joining, they let me know, and most people are in because I know they verified them. Now, we're not horrible about verifying things, but we want to make sure that people aren't signing up Barfy the dog, or or Cutie the cat. We just like to make sure that people are real, because people like to play tricks. And so they've been doing great. Now, as I was saying, they live naturally by the precepts. I can't think of one of the precepts that those two people do not live by just automatically. Um, and that's the way that, well, like I say, if everybody was integrous as those two in the world, and lived by the high standards that they do, the world would be a very nice place. Yeah, nice place indeed. Now, another board member we'll talk about is Dave. And Dave lives down in the Grass Valley, Nevada City area. And I like to joke with him that he lives like someone out in the woods in the movie Deliverance, except he doesn't have a big river going by. He's got a creek. And he lives very much by himself, very few houses within earshot or gunshot, as it turns out, if you want to, or firework distance as far as being able to hear anybody. And he's had his own sets of interesting things happen this year. Unlike Kalidas and Ralph, Dave has had some really important health issues and some important life issues to work with as far as dangerous wildfires in the area near his house, which is in the forest. And so you put that together with homeless people, and I'm not against homeless people. A lot of them are great, and everyone's that close to being one themselves these days, right? I mean, look at the movie Nomadland, which is fantastic. Look how many really good people are living in trailers or campers or vans right now, because economically that's what they can afford. They're integrous, good people who just that's how they need to live. And they're making a go of it. And I respect these people, or many of them. I mean, just like anybody else, there's a few ding dongs in every group, and those we must account for. But that is why, to account for those ding dongs, we have the precept of helping people, and protecting people. Um, those of us who can, we do that if we're members of the Natural Rights Sangha. Now, I could talk about some of our members. There's one in Spain who lives in a beautiful place on the Mediterranean coast who uh, has, a Mediterranean climate and lives with a garden in her backyard. And even with the COVID restrictions, was able to go out to the store and do things. I mean, so this person has done pretty darn well considering everything. And we have another member in Mount Shasta area in California who right now has a lot of snow around. They've gotten a lot of snow this winter, and but she's doing really fine, and is always up and is still working, and does a great job and is highly respected in her field and in her area. And uh, it's great to talk to her sometimes. And well, we'll leave it at that. If you'd like to hear more about some of our members and what's happening, please let me know. Also, any questions anytime, please write to mark@naturalrightsanga.org. And I do get encouraging notes sometimes saying that our work is appreciated and that the precepts are appreciated and that they're glad we're here, because um, it gives them freedom to make choices for their health from their position of faith, that they feel more secure with that faith and that strength behind them. And plus, of course, the precepts are just a great basis upon which to run your life. Okay, so let's go now to the four measurables. And as usual, we will do them with we and then with all. The first time through, think of we. And you can think of yourself and all the people you feel good about. And if you wish to include people you'd like to feel good about or have a hard time feeling good about and wish them to improve from your perspective, you can include them. You can include your dog, your cat, your bird, the deer outside your house, whatever you wish in the we. Yeah. And by the way, just to re-mention it, the reason they're called the four measurables is all four of these things cannot be measured in a scientific way. And we are very pro-science in the Natural Rights Sangha in many ways, but also there's something even beyond science, which we also look at, and that these are immeasurable and in a wonderful way. So please repeat. May we have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May we never be separate from the happiness that is free of sorrow. May we reside in equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. Okay, so moving to all. So now we're going to do the four measurables for all, for everything, everyone, everybody, everything, all it is. And some of the great sages, of course, would say that all it is truly one, and there is no second. So it just is. Okay, so doing it for all now. May all have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all never be separate from the happiness that is free of sorrow. May all reside in equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. Okay, well, thank you for being here this week. May you have a blessed time as spring begins to come to the northern hemisphere and fall begins to come to the southern hemisphere. Good old Australia. Blessings.